I have to admit, I am an oud rookie. Early on, when I first got into niche fragrance, I was spraying a lot of stuff and recognized that my wife wasn't responding to some of the fragrances that I was wearing. And one particular day, and I was trying to identify what are the notes that she doesn't like, sort of thing. Anyway, one day I had just put on an oud fragrance and we jumped in the car, we were going somewhere. Now this in itself was a big mistake. I was now in a Dutch oven. And now I don't know if us Aussies, we know what a Dutch oven is. It's not nice. I don't know if the Americans do. I'm not going to tell you right now. Work it out. Or Google it and find out what that is. Anyway, so I was in a Dutch oven now. And there was this perfume that was just, you know, boom, 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 boom. Now my wife, she's a wonderful lady and she didn't say anything to me because she knew that I was like crazy in love with all things, you know, perfume. But all she did was she wound down her window. And of course I was very self-conscious. And so as I'm driving, I'm like, darling, the fragrance is not so much for you. And all she said was, it's kind of stinky. So that was it. That was my end of the oud journey when it comes to discovering oud fragrances. But guess what happened? I'm back, baby. Since starting the Niche Fragrance Collector channel, I've discovered that oud is a big deal, that there's a lot of passionate people who love oud as their fragrance of choice. They've been asking me, what would I recommend? It wasn't until my collaboration with OLIGARCH that I had an opportunity to really get a better understanding about oud as a fragrance note in perfume, and two, what companies are actually doing it really well. Now, one thing I need to point out, oud at this moment in time is quite a rare resource. What's happening, and again, this is not a science lesson, but just really quickly so you understand. So the Aquilaria tree, which is the actual tree that generates the oud, gets an infection or a fungus, a mold, and then so it happens in the actual heart of the tree. So you don't know if that tree has this resin, and it's the resin that the tree generates to fight this fungus. That creates that oud scent. And you don't know until you have to chop the tree down. And unfortunately, there's a lot of illegal logging going on. And as a result of that, the Aquilaria tree is almost becoming extinct. So you'll find that there's a lot of oud, when they say oud in fragrances, it could be a synthetic note. And now, interestingly, you don't want to have a synthetic note in your perfume. And I'll go into why. So in my collaboration with OLIGARCH, I came across, well, Kevin introduced me to Fragrance Du Bois. Now, my only connection or my only understanding of Fragrance Du Bois was through Demi Rawling, and I'm sure you've seen another Aussie. I say that like she's really small. Anyway, so she did a collaboration with Fragrance Du Bois, created her own range, and that was my only understanding of who they were, what they did. And it was through Kevin and again through OLIGARCH that I discovered that the Fragrance Du Bois company actually are the champions when it comes to oud and how they cultivate it and how they sustainably grown. They're very passionate about oud. But before I go there, let's go here. So as I said, being an oud rookie and being afraid to actually experience or experiment with oud because my wife was like, get out. I didn't really go into it much. And I started with this one here. Now, everything in the collector's collection, I've actually bought myself. This fragrance is phenomenal. I've got that opening whiff and now I'm getting the rest of it and it's like, oh my gosh. So everything in the collector's collection, I've bought myself. The good thing is OLIGARCH are offering all my subscribers, including me, 10% off. There's the code. Make sure that you have an opportunity. If you're interested in not only Fragrance Du Bois, they've got exclusivity in Australia, but any of the other fragrances, make sure that you use that code and take advantage of it. So I actually used my own code, like a gangster, and I purchased this particular fragrance here. This is one of the sexiest, smoothest oud fragrances, and as a rookie, this is an awesome place to start the oud journey. So on the top notes, you're looking at coconut and fruits. Then in the heart, it goes into vanilla. And finally in the base, we've got vanilla again, musk, and the 100% pure organic vintage oud. It's just, I said before, it's smooth, and I'm reluctant to use words like it's smooth and well blended because I'm not a perfumer, and it sounds pretentious of me, you know, saying these things. However, it's smooth and well blended. I'm not getting that punchy oud smell, you know, that the sassiness of oud. I'm not getting orange. Now, in those notes, you just saw that fruits and coconut are the opening notes. What I'm personally getting, and I get this constantly, and I actually, the way I like to do fragrances, I like to spray and then see what is it saying to me. What am I smelling, irrespective? And then I start to explore and have a look at the notes. Now, for me, chocolate. I get chocolate. And I was convinced there was chocolate in this. But it could be, maybe it's the coconut and the fruits together. Or it could be again, I'm not a perfumer, so I don't know. All I know is that there is a smoothness to this fragrance, there is a softness to this fragrance, there is a warmth to this fragrance. I've been wearing it here in Victoria or in Melbourne at the moment. It is pretty cold. In the last couple of days I've been out and about, and this fragrance, it sort of emanates out of me, you know? I mentioned earlier that they use 100% pure organic oud. Now what that means is that Fragrance Du Bois have their own plantation. They actually are controlling the oud extraction. The fact that you have real oud in the actual fragrance means that it actually can play with your own body chemistry. The warmer that you are, the sweeter the scent becomes. If you're an oud rookie, like I am, this is a great place to actually begin your oud journey. So let's go into the business end on this particular fragrance. The sillage is actually a body. It's a body fragrance. Opening sprays, the first couple of hours, I am getting moderate. I'm getting a nice sort of sillage around me. This morning when I sprayed it, I left before my wife, and when I came back, she actually made the comment that the whole house smelled beautiful because of this fragrance here. When it comes to longevity, this fragrance is phenomenal. They say that oud is a strong, long-lasting fragrance or oil, and it's definitely the case here. So I would spray it in the morning. I'm smelling this fragrance throughout the night. And early on, when I was actually test driving this before I bought it, I would, as I moved around, and I've said this before, so I always spray under my clothing, so it's on my chest, on my abdomen, and my arm. So as I moved around at night, because it was still on me, on my body, I was getting these, and I mentioned that it smells like chocolate, and it does. It's a fruity chocolate, and so I'm getting this one, I mean, that night as I'm like, man, I smell good. I mean, I'm semi-conscious, and I'm actually acknowledging how great I smelled. So when it comes to longevity, it is eternal. I would put this down as an absolutely phenomenal office fragrance. It's an oud, so it's gonna take you throughout the whole day, but it's not to the point where people are like, what is going on? I would put this also into a gourmand category. So there's a richness, there's a warmth to it. So as an office scent would be phenomenal. As a going out fragrance, again, this would be exceptional. I've been using it over the last couple of days as my day fragrance, and I just smell good all day long. You know, it has this wonderful warmth that would come out of me as I move around. Pricing, it's not a cheap fragrance. You're looking at $555 here in Australia. If you are Australian, as I mentioned earlier, you can get that 10% off, so make sure you go to OLIGARCH, explore it for yourself so you can get a better understanding. Now, final part. Do I love this fragrance? Being my first oud, yes, I love this fragrance, hence why I bought it. I know there's oud in there, but it's almost to the point where I'm like, it's not an oud fragrance. I mean, when with Kevin, we smelled a lot of oud, and I knew that I was wearing oud. It has a kapow to it. Whereas this fragrance here, for me, it stays chocolatey. It stays warm. It doesn't go into that more pungent kind of oud. The best part, and this part excites me, because my wife, she actually loves this fragrance. I've mentioned before, when my wife likes a perfume on me, she knows that I've got it on my arm, she'll put her nose and start to, to breathe in the fragrance. She has grabbed my arm and she's just smelling in. She knows that it's OUD Intense. She's like, this is not oud, this is amazing. If you're new to oud, this is a great place to start. If you are an oud lover, this is an awesome, Fragrance Du Bois are an awesome company. One thing I forgot to mention, and I'll put it in the video, you actually get a certificate, and the certificate actually talks about where they source their oud from. So these guys are ultra legit when it comes to their oud. If you have any questions for me, please put them in the comments. I'd love to know about them. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. We would love you to be part of the niche fragrance collector family. If you're in Australia, check out OLIGARCH. They've got an awesome collection when it comes to the Fragrance Du Bois and a whole bunch of other fragrances. Thanks everyone. We'll see you on the next video.